And a good Wednesday morning, Quad Cities. It is Wednesday, April 16th, 2025. Welcome in to this episode of Ask Andrew Live. I'm meteorologist Andrew Stutzke.
I'm weather anchor Peter Warner. It's going to be a fun 48 hours.
Yeah. It's going to get a little exciting around here in terms of getting some storms back. We've got some severe weather threat to talk about. We're also going to dip into some tropical stuff as well. We had some great questions this week for Ask Andrew. We had one about ACE, which I'll explain more about that. And then the one this morning we had about the smell of rain.
That's my favorite.
Yes, it was
so interesting.
Very kind of cool chemistry lesson, if you will, so we'll dive into that too. But we want to welcome you here. If it's your first time, welcome. We hope to see you back here. A reminder, you can always get this on the repeat. This is DVRable, if you will, on the A+ app. So you can watch this at any time on repeat if you like. And if you have a friend that has a smart TV at home, maybe a relative, tell them about this app that they can get on their smart TV.
It's great, especially as we're approaching severe weather season. No better source.
Exactly.
We get right here on the WQ80 A+ app.
He said it better than I could have as well. I mean, this is the place to be when rough weather comes into the Quad Cities because, again, our timetable here is a lot more unlimited versus what we can do over the air because this is our channel after all right here.
This is us.
Yes, this is us. This is not ABC. This is just WQ80. So we get all the time in the world, technically, that we like to talk about storms. So refer a friend. There's no refer a friend bonus or discount right now. Maybe we'll have to work on that at some point. Yeah, maybe we can pass out some mugs or something like that. Some pencils. We got those nice pencils back there now,
Those
too.
things are cool.
Yeah, coming to a school near you. So if you have not been with us before, easiest way to give us a question is to text this number, 309-304-0888. 309-304-0888.
309-304-0888. 888.
Yes.
That's our favorite number here.
We love that number. So send your questions there. Our awesome digital team, including Alec, and then we have our director, Brandy, in this morning as well. Between the two of them, we're going to get those questions sent right here to the weather desk, and we'll start answering them coming up in just a second. But first, shall we talk a little upcoming weather?
Yeah, let's kind of break down what's coming up because we do have, I believe, a weather impact alert to talk about.
We do, yes. And actually, just moments ago, I was texting with Chief Meteorologist James Zahara. We want to kind of tighten up this weather impact alert timing for you based on some new data that we're looking over this morning. So we'll start with that, and I'll give you the new timing here is what we're going to be focusing on. So let me scroll up to my newscast from this morning, and we'll pull up our weather impact alert graphic here. So what we're going to do is we're going to tighten this up now to be late Thursday night into the pre-dawn hours of Friday. So right now, we're not as concerned about Friday afternoon versus what we saw yesterday. And there's a specific reason for that I'm going to show you here. But we are definitely still, on guard for some of those stronger storms coming in late tomorrow night into early Friday that right now pose quite a significant hail threat. Something we're going to have to watch.
Yeah, that's something we're really keeping an eye on. I mean, there's a hatched portion of Iowa leading into us, but it's going to be a strong supercell with a really cool core because it's coming off that cold front.
Yes.
So with that cooler core plus that low-level jet we're going to be seeing, it's a pretty good recipe for some large hail.
It really is, yes. And this is going to be coming in, unfortunately, while most of you are sleeping. But in this kind of a scenario, should you get a large hailstorm, it's going to wake you up. Most people can't sleep through that. You're going to be hearing that very, very easily. So what has changed? Well, I can show you some of the new updated information we got this morning. This hasn't changed. This is for that exact time period. It's for late Thursday night to early Friday, where we have that threat track 2 out of 5 sitting to the west. And yes, it does include the Quad Cities. What changed, though, is the question about what's going to happen Friday afternoon. And you can see the Storm Prediction Center still has us in this 2 out of 5 for our Illinois hometowns, but the thinking is we're not going to get enough sunshine here late Friday morning into the afternoon for this to actually become realized. We think that this is a little bit too far to the west and that probably in the next update, which by the way will come later this afternoon at about 2:30, I think it is.
I think it is, yeah.
We'll probably see this shoved further to the east and out of the Quad Cities metro and out of our easternmost hometowns.
Yeah, we're not going to be getting a lot of sunshine, which is kind of the key ingredient.
Yeah.
And as we talk about a lot is getting that storm energy to rebuild after kind of getting sucked up in the overnight hours.
That's right. And I'm going to take you through Future Track, and I'll show you, why this is the case this morning. Now, we're going to put the asterisk on it like we usually do, because if something were to change, if we get more sunshine and the front slows down Friday afternoon, then we get in trouble with some severe threat there. But right now, it doesn't appear to be the case. So we'll start with tomorrow morning, where we just have this scattering of a stray shower thunderstorm throughout the region. We go into the afternoon. Not much happening there. Our focus is then right there on these storms that are going to be developing very late tomorrow night. And still thinking this is going to be right along the Interstate 80 corridor. You're seeing that storm there southeast of Des Moines. I'm going to zoom this in just a little bit and we'll forward this. Also keep in mind too, we might get the newer run of Future Track perhaps before we get out of here at 9:30. So we will check back with this a little bit later. But this is what it looks like right now at midnight and into early Friday morning. And you can see there's a couple good looking thunderstorm cells there traversing Interstate 80. And when they're on their own like that, not part of a huge line or a huge cluster, they can really start to take advantage of some of those better dynamics of the atmosphere.
Yeah, we're going to have some pretty decent moisture too. That's something I was looking at as we get into Friday night. Some areas nearing 60 degrees on their dew point even at that time, which is a lot of moisture.
It is a lot.
For especially an overnight system.
Yes.
And the storm energy, there's some there still too then, because we get some decent maybe pockets of sunshine as well, plus the warmer temperatures tomorrow to kind of build up that storm energy for it.
Exactly.
Off of.
And that's what's going to help drive those eastward overnight too as well. But look what happens tomorrow afternoon, where we get all this cloud cover. And because of all those clouds, we really don't build up a whole bunch of storm energy. I actually have to zoom this out for you to see where the new storms fire, and that is going to be well to our southeast. We don't have anything new developing here in the Quad Cities because of all this cloud cover. And by the time the front gets here, looking at the wind switch, what you're watching are these winds right here. You notice right now they're out of the south, moving from the bottom of your screen to the top. That's a south wind. You can kind of see the cold front right about here into Cedar Rapids, Iowa City, right in here. You see that wind switching to the northwest. Well, when that front moves here at about 2 o'clock, it looks like, there it is on top of the Mississippi River, 3 o'clock. Look at the struggle bus here trying to get anything to form.
Yeah.
Just a couple of showers is all.
That's all we're seeing.
So that being a trend that we've noticed, in the last 12 hours or so, that's why we're going to go ahead and cut down the weather impact alert timing. Here's the storm energy if you're curious what that looks like into Friday afternoon. It's not a lot. You look at the scale at the top of your screen. We don't see these really bright yellows and whites. We see more of these subdued reds and kind of this orange. So the better storm energy is going to be well to the east. And again, we said cold front timing about 2-3 o'clock. And it doesn't have a whole lot of storm energy to work with. We don't see those brighter colors come up until the front's out of here and into Chicago. So another determining factor, again, why we're shrinking this weather impact alert a little bit more. But again, we'll keep the asterisk on it. We may have to extend it into the afternoon, depending on sunshine. So we don't want you to let your guard down about Friday afternoon, but I can tell you right now this morning, it's not looking too exciting for Friday afternoon. This looks like mainly a Friday morning show for us here. So we'll continue to track that. Again, we'll take another peek at Future Track and see if maybe we get that updated model run coming in while we're still with you here in this half hour. It happened last time.
And that was fun.
Yep, that was kind of neat to see that live as it was playing out. So we'll continue to watch that. We'll go through our question we had today. We'll talk a little bit about hurricane season coming up, and then we'll take your questions here. That should get us right at about 9:15 on schedule, if you will. So here was our question today. I know who this came from.
Really? What's that? Marcus? From
Marcus.
Knoxville.
Yes, we know who that is. Yeah.
I know him.
So he wanted to know what's with the smell of rain, like what causes all of this? And you got to go back to chemistry. And this will bring back maybe some not so pleasant memories. It does for me. Oh. But we talk about there's bacteria in the soil, of course, because soil is a living thing. That's how plants grow. Well, those bacteria in the soil, they produce these different kind of spores. And when it rains, those spores get released into the air because, of course, they're triggered by that motion. So you get some of these spores along with plant oils. Because this is something I didn't know either until I was researching this. Plants actually release oil on dry days to help protect themselves. It's like a drought resistance thing.
Yeah, kind of insulate like their moisture off.
Yeah. Who knew? I had no idea
didn't know
until I
that
started
either.
doing this. So you have the combination of those two things. Also, don't forget too, what do we have with thunderstorms most of the time anyway? We get lightning. And lightning actually works with the oxygen molecules in the air to produce things like nitrogen, and it also produces ozone. And ozone, yeah, it's the same kind of ozone that's at the top of the atmosphere that shields us from the sun, but we can actually get ozone at the ground level too. And this is the case. That's what you're smelling, is that ozone smell. It's a pre-rain type of scent.
Interesting.
Isn't that crazy?
That is, wow.
Yeah. And that's how you get like your grass to green up, because
Yes.
all of these molecules are
Yes,
breaking
all
down.
these molecules. Interesting.
Yeah, very, very interesting.
So we're smelling ozone.
You're smelling ozone. Now, most of the time it smells sweet. There's
say.
sometimes it'll smell a little,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
but it's got a sweet smell to it.
it does.
And you'll smell it in the summer too, because we have air action days, and that means the ozone at the ground is unhealthy, and it can be a bad thing too.
Yes.
So just heads up on that. The other question we had on Monday was about this term called ACE. What is it? What does it mean? If you follow a weather blog or any other type of meteorologist, especially during hurricane season, they talk about this. They talk about these ACE values. Basically, it's a way of keeping score as to how busy or how inactive a certain hurricane season is. So we're looking at the Atlantic here specifically, and what that score does is it takes a look at wind speeds, sustained wind speeds of any tropical storm or greater in intensity, and it also takes a look at how long does that storm stick around, what's its lifespan. So it builds up points using a very complex equation looking at those two things. Hurricane Ivan, back in 2004, actually holds the record for the single storm that is with the highest number of ACE points, 70 points,
70?
just on that storm alone.
What?
Yeah, which is very high, considering that on an average season we get about 122 and a half ACE points.
Wow.
Yeah, it's more than half. So the scoring on this works like this. If it's greater than 121.1 ACE points, we consider that an active hurricane season. And if, of course, there's other thresholds too that are used in this. But if you look at the ACE trends, now the one thing you're going to see is, oh my gosh, that trend line is shooting right up. But remember, we're not talking about just intensity. We're talking about the length of a storm system, how long it survives. So it's both of those things. Also, too, we can't look at this and say, wow, things are really ramping up, because our data only goes back to 1980.
That's true.
That's not a long time ago.
No, it's not.
When you look at a data set like this. So are things increasing a bit? Yes. Is it dramatic like this line is? Probably not if you go back in history.
Yes.
And the problem with that is, we've only had satellites since the 1980s or so.
I was going to say, even on this trend alone, the increase in technology from 1980 to 2024,
Yep.
that can create a significant increase in this trend as well.
That's right. We're seeing more things.
Yes, it's kind of like the 90s when I was looking at those tornadoes. All of a sudden, it's starting in the 90s, poof,
Yes.
popped out.
That's a great
compared
example.
to the 1950 to 1990 trend line, then 1990 to now. Huge difference in the amount that were able to be reported, kept an eye on, and tracked.
That's right.
So it's probably a very similar situation to this.
It's exactly that, right? The technology changing. Now you've got cell phones. People can report tornadoes. Much, much easier to do that than in years past. Great point. Yeah, very similar trend on that. If you're curious what's expected this season at the Atlantic, we have not heard from NOAA yet. We will hear from them, I believe, the last Thursday in May. It's always the second to last or last Thursday in May. I can't remember, but it is coming up. So we'll get their forecast in the next few weeks. Colorado State University, which is another big hurricane forecaster. They do one every year. They are calling for an above average season, 17 named storms, 9 hurricanes, and 4 major hurricanes. And you can see last year was busy.
Last year was a busy one. I felt like we were talking one, especially like later in the year, like
Yeah.
August, I guess, was just kind of primary season, but August to October, it felt like there was a tropical watch we were keeping an eye on almost every week.
It did. There was always a storm churning, it seemed like. So we are expecting another busy season, perhaps just a little less busy than last year, but it will definitely be active. And again, we're going to hear from NOAA in the next few weeks. We'll see what they have to say. Usually it lines up pretty squarely with what CSU and some other sources are calling for, but we will see. Time will tell.
Time will tell.
Yeah.
It's always fun.
Yeah.
It's fun to forecast and study.
It is. That's something I've always wanted. If I had the unlimited resources when it comes to money and time, I would go back and I would do tropical meteorology.
It's so
'cause
cool.
It's so fascinating. It really is to study that and just see how those monster storm systems work and churn and all that.
Yeah, it's crazy.
They're amazing. We have some time for your questions now.
Plenty.
We'll go ahead and we'll take those. Again, weather related, whether it's the severe weather coming in tomorrow evening into Friday or anything else you want to talk about. If you want to talk about Easter, we can talk about Easter.
Talk about Easter, more rain.
Yeah, more rain. I got some Easter stats in here too, I'm sure buried in there we can pull up.
Probably we could.
Yep.
But yeah, we'll start with just some comments. Some good mornings from Joe, from Riley, from Billy. Good morning to them.
Hey, good morning, everybody.
Good morning, everyone. Riley from Monmouth was wondering, is there any tornado risk with these storms? And also, as someone who fears severe weather, just want to say thank you as well.
Oh, you're quite welcome. You're quite welcome. There is not much of a tornado risk with this event coming in for the evening tomorrow night. We can pop up if you'd like to. We can go over those probabilities. Probably want to look at the hail zone too with that. So we'll pop up tornadoes first. And again, we're going to do this on the fly.
Yes.
So give me one moment and we will throw all this information here. So we're going to start with tomorrow. Right now it says Wednesday, but you're going to see that change on your screen in a second. We're going to go to the Storm Prediction Center, go to day 2, change to tornadoes, and there it is. So
Very unlikely.
yeah, not seeing anything here in the Quad Cities. This is the tornado zone for tomorrow, including tomorrow night into early Friday.
Yes.
And it doesn't look too exciting there.
Not a lot going on there.
Yeah. So that's more of an Iowa threat, well west of us.
That's more Des Moines area.
Yeah.
And even there, it's trending to be in the southwest portion of the state for even the slightest chance.
It is, yes. So we're not worried about that here as of right now. Now the hail zone, let me pop down into my other graphic, because this is the one you were talking about this morning.
Yes, there's a hatched area, which means that significant elevated risk, even higher than what you would see your typical 2 level. It's higher than that, or I guess an area of focus, you could say.
Yes, where you could see some of those even larger hailstones. So we'll go ahead and we'll pop this back on. We'll go to day 2, we'll go to hail, and we'll zoom this out so you can see. So yeah, west of the Quad Cities, you see the darker purple, and then what you were talking about, that hatched area.
That hatched area, yeah. So it's about I-35 and due west. They have the chance to see 2+ inch sized hail, golf ball sized hail.
Yeah.
Which is impressive.
And it looks like it includes the Des Moines Metro too.
Yes, it's kind of right along that fringe of it. So definitely something to keep an eye on for our friends out in Des Moines and in western portions of the state of Iowa. But here, yeah, we're still at that level 2 risk, but it's not, I guess, that significant risk. But definitely kind of the big focus here of this storm will be that hail potential.
Yep. And that's a 2 out of 5 on that scale there too. It's interesting, Peter, looking at this, how this matches with what Future Track was showing, not just yesterday, but this morning, where we get those storms to kind of erupt here and then spread their way eastward eventually.
Yes.
And it's not surprising they're going to kind of widen this cone out as time goes on, but we still think the majority of the concentration of this is probably going to be right around Interstate 80.
Yes, just following right along that trend
Yeah.
and just to the south as well. It's kind of, I'd say, about 100 miles south of I-80
Yeah.
is kind of where that strongest cell is looking to develop, give or take. Maybe a little bit closer, a little bit less, but as of right now, it's kind of the general spot we're keeping an eye on.
Yeah, hail definitely our biggest concern there. If you want to see wind, I can pull that up briefly here too.
That's just a 1.
Just a 1, yeah. Nothing too exciting there. Push this into Thursday again, and then we'll pull up what the Storm Prediction Center thinks for wind. Could there be a stray wind gust here? Yeah,
Yes.
but it's not our biggest concern as of right now. There's the wind. So just barely any kind of a 1 getting into areas just west of the Quad Cities, and actually nothing more than a 1, like you said, across the whole region.
Yes.
So that doesn't look terrible.
No.
Just the hail we're concerned about.
Yes, that's going to be the biggest threat here. Come about 36 hours from now.
We're getting there.
We're getting there. It's getting
Hours
closer.
away, yes.
Hours away. It's nearing us. Let's see. What's the next question? Billy was wondering, with the spring being already active, what is the summer looking like when it comes to severe weather?
Yeah, so I would expect some healthy, severe weather to continue even into the summer, as long as we don't get massive drought anywhere in here or just to the west of us. I don't see much of a change in this pattern. We're officially out of La Nina now, and if you missed that, I think that was declared last week or the week before.
Yes, just last week, I think.
Yeah, so we're even, we're neutral, and there's really no major one factor in terms of El Nino or La Nina that's driving our pattern right now. So this will be very much dependent on things like drought, the location of the jet stream, all that good stuff. I mean, the fact that we're still getting some relatively cooler blasts of air for the last couple of weeks anyway, now we're getting deeper into April, tells me that if this pattern continues, we're likely going to have storms for a while.
I think we will too.
Yeah.
And again, with all this moisture that we're bringing up, not only potential for tomorrow night, but if you take a look at Sunday too. All of Iowa, Illinois, even carrying into Missouri, has a very good chance to pretty much alleviate their droughts if we get this much rain as we're seeing potentially right now.
Yeah, that's impressive. You know, you were showing me one of the model runs yesterday having this swath of heavy rain going right through the heart of our region, and that still looks like it's going to be the case, where at least most of us are going to pick up an inch on average, maybe some isolated higher amounts. But that's all it takes to really wipe out the deficit that we've got going for this year. It isn't going to take much to do that at all. This is the European model, I believe, that we're showing here in terms of that rainfall potential. We can't show our in-house model yet because it only goes out to late Friday, so we can't pick up the Sunday system yet. If you're curious, though, for comparison, if you want to look at the American model, we can give that a second to load, and you can see, yeah, there's still a healthy swath of some rain that's expected, though obviously the heaviest is south of us. But there's good agreement that we're at least on track, I would say, to get a quarter of an inch, if not a half an inch of rain at the minimum.
Yes.
With this system coming in over the weekend.
Yes, which is great news. Again, as of right now, there's not really any severe threat with these storms. Yeah, maybe some rumbles of thunder here or there, but overall just a good old heavy soaking rain potentially, which is great.
Yeah. Ground's wide open.
Ground's wide open.
Soak it right up.
Soak it right up. And we're getting, like, I think, 2-3 weeks away from planting season now almost?
We are. In fact, I was out for a walk yesterday, and this was just north of Geneseo by the Hennepin Canal. There was already a planter. The machinery was sitting on the side of the road already.
Oh, really?
So they're getting close. I did see some of the, what do you call it, anhydrous ammonia, I think it's called, going into the ground. Some of the folks were doing that. So, yeah, they're getting busy.
Our director just said she saw tractors going out yesterday too. So.
Oh, nice! Yeah,
Yes.
They're working.
They're working.
They're working.
It's getting time.
Yep, we're there.
You're there. Our next question comes from an unfamiliar name.
Unfamiliar.
Marcus from Knoxville.
Oh, he's back again. Oh my goodness.
Marcus from Knoxville. When will we start to see a change in the UV index since the weather is getting warmer? And what are some of the effects to look out for as it gets stronger?
Oh, good question.
Great questions.
He always has great questions. I tell you what, his mind, he's got a good one up there. So the UV index, when are we going to start to see that get a little bit stronger? We will start to see that quickly work up in the weeks ahead. Right now, our UV index most days is about a 5 or a 6. I'll pull up the chart here. This is going to be an old forecast, so bear with me for a second. Actually, maybe I have a different one that doesn't involve the forecast. There we go.
Yes.
This one might be better.
Oh, this is real.
This is an oldie. So again, we're on the fly here. Old branding. It's a little flashback for you. But there's the UV index, and when it gets to be usually 7 or higher, that's when you worry about a sunburn. You can see anything lower than that, you got to be outside for a real long period of time to get any kind of a sunburn. So right now we're about 5 or 6 most days. But by the end of this month, beginning of next month, and especially the end of next month, we start getting to 8, 9, and 10.
Yes.
Very rarely do we get an 11 here. You got to go down to your part of the
Got to go down to
world.
Phoenix, your LAs, your Dallases, your Floridas.
Exactly, to get those higher levels. So we will get there. Ava asks me almost every day because she likes to sunbathe outside. Why pay for it when you can get it for free outside with Mother Nature? Exactly.
Don't need no tanning booth.
Yeah. Plus, this is maybe a little safer.
Yeah, just a little bit.
I've seen that movie, Final Destination. I refuse to go into a tanning bed.
Really?
Every time I think about a tanning bed, that movie comes to mind, and I'm like, I can't do it. I cannot do it. So, yeah, there's the UV index. We'll start to see that climb in a few weeks here. That puts a pleasant thought in your head, doesn't it?
It does.
Makes you want to go out and watch it. Isn't there a new one that just came out or is coming out?
Maybe.
I think there is another one coming out if it's not out already.
I don't know.
I don't know if I want to watch that. I don't need anything else to be scared of.
No, to be honest, I haven't also been up to date on my movies lately.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
That's more of a summertime thing, I feel like.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Can't watch it alone.
No. No. Joe was wondering, can we pinpoint and let us know what we're looking at tomorrow night in the QC area?
Sure, yeah. We can go back to our in-house run, and it's a great time to check it.
It is. Let's
Did
see.
we get an update?
Ooh, that's a
Oh,
14K.
That's the 14K.
Surprise.
Surprise. Fat fingers. Oh, you know what? This might be a newer run because that looks different.
It does.
All right, let's
See.
go. Oh, this is a new run.
Oh, gosh. Oh, goodness.
Live here, ladies and gentlemen, you are getting the latest run of Future Track. This is why we said we were going to check again.
That's a heavy sell.
That is a heavy sell, and it's right along Interstate 80 again.
Right along I-80.
That has been so consistent since this time yesterday morning about blowing up this storm near Interstate 80. And yeah, it's still got that, this one's got more of that Boeing signature again.
Yeah.
Where it's, kind of bowing forward or bending forward, indicating that wind potential and some hail potential as well. But now, guess what? We can go into tomorrow afternoon.
More cloud.
Did anything change?
No cloud.
Sure didn't.
It's all staying just,
Nope.
yeah, to our south and east.
Look at that, still
It's
to
a
the
pretty
south.
decent, line making its way southeast along that cold front, though.
It is, yeah, once it can get going.
Yeah.
And it looks like it's going to be downstate. May even miss Chicago at this point. Doesn't look like anything too exciting for Chicago now.
I wouldn't mind that.
So, yeah, I'm going to be really curious to see what the Storm Prediction Center has to say at 2:30 when we get that day 3
Yes.
update. Do they take that slight risk farther to the southeast? I have a feeling they're going to, just based on everything we continue to see this morning. So, again, that time frame, our new time frame from 10 Thursday night until 4 o'clock Friday morning, spot on for this scenario. And this is the same scenario we've seen in multiple runs.
Yes, which gives us, again, even more increased confidence. If there's been such a consistent trend line, even across other models and more global models that aren't as short range, we're still kind of seeing that one cell making its way along I-80.
Yeah. That's been consistent.
Yes.
Now, does that guarantee that that's what's going to happen? No. It's a possibility.
Yes.
It goes to just show us, though, the coverage and the mode of these storms that we'll be dealing with. So, yeah, that storm, may not ride perfectly Interstate 80, but it does tell us that somewhere in our region here, late Thursday night to Friday morning, there are going to be a couple of these around.
Yes.
Should be, by the way, prolific lightning producers, too. When hail is the main threat in a storm, you're going to get lightning all over the place with this. So,
It's going to be kind of pretty.
it's going to be pretty, but it's going to be loud.
Going to be loud. Watch it from inside.
Yeah. Cuddle your dog a little extra.
Yes.
It's like mine. Doesn't like storms.
Yes. What is it that James plays from? Elton John?
Elton John, yeah.
Elton
James
John.
will blast out the Elton John for the doggos.
I like that.
I haven't tried that. I'll have to try that.
That is good. Let's see. So yeah, the time frame for the hail in the Quad Cities, Justin was wondering, and that's about, I'd say, give or take 11-ish to 1,
Yeah.
kind of right now.
I'd say 11 to 1 is a good corridor. Now, when we talk about 10 to 4, we're talking the whole region.
Yes.
Because you got to remember, we go well west and we go east.
Yes.
So, starting the west first at 10 o'clock, Quad Cities, Central, 11 to 1. And then after 1 o'clock as you go east of the Quad Cities.
Yes.
Yeah. I'd say 11 to 1 is a good time frame.
Yes. Again, this can change.
Yeah.
This is not a guarantee, but
Yeah.
it's a good trend to keep that
Yeah.
we've been seeing.
The plan is, right now, most likely what we're going to do is if this remains consistent, we will have the stream available during that time if something were to pop up and something were to come on. And of course, if it's damaging enough, we do break in on the air for that too.
Yes.
But again, we'll keep the stream potential in mind that we likely will be streaming something if these storms blow up Thursday night to Friday morning.
Yes.
Even if it is late at night or early in the morning, we'll likely get that figured out today.
Well, something or another,
That's right.
we'll be here.
Yeah,
We'll get it handled.
that's right.
We'll be here. And then our next question. I don't know what I just said there. We'll be here. That was so weird.
Well, one of us will be.
One of
Maybe
us
a
will be.
combination of a couple of us.
That's
we'll see.
true. My goodness. Wednesdays. Shirley Stewart was wondering, what about Des Moines County for those storms?
Yes, so you are a little further south there. We're talking way down there in southeast Iowa.
Yep.
Could one or two of those potentially get down there? It's possible. You can see something tries to get going down there. So you're not out of the woods when it comes to the severe storm potential there. It is really a good chunk of the region. And you can see that 2 out of 5 risk does extend down into Des Moines County in Iowa there. So you're not out of the woods there. There is a chance that it might be a little bit more coverage here to your north, but still that hail threat will extend all the way down to your neck of the woods.
Definitely something to keep an eye on.
Yep, we'll be watching that. We'll see if that trend holds.
Yeah. Let's see. What about Rock Falls? And Michelle doesn't like tanning beds either, by the way.
I know.
with ya.
After that movie, Rock Falls, we are looking at a little bit more of a lesser threat. There's a sign that by the time these storms get over to this portion of the region, we might start weakening some of those low-level jet winds. That's just a fancy term for really strong winds just above the ground. That's what's driving these storms overnight, is this low-level jet. So it doesn't need a whole bunch of heat energy and all that other stuff like we would with daytime storms. So they're a little bit more complex, but we think a little bit of a weakening trend. We still could have some good-sized hail, though, even as it gets to the Illinois side early Thursday morning.
So we'll wait and see.
That's right. We'll see what the radar looks like.
Yes. It's got time. And I think that's, speaking of time, we're out of time and we're out of questions.
All right. Perfect.
Right on the dot.
You guys time this so perfectly every week. You're
know.
amazing. Absolutely amazing. So we're going to keep tracking the severe weather threat for late tomorrow night into Friday. Again, thinking right now this is mainly a late night, early morning threat. We'll put an asterisk on Friday afternoon. It's not looking too bad right now, but things can always change. So that's why we want you to stay up to date with us.
Stay weather aware.
That's right. And you can do that with your 8 Plus app like you're doing now. Make sure you have the Storm Track 8 app ready to go too. I'll see you back here for GMQC at 11. Have a great day, Quad Cities.
Continue with us and watch free now on the 8 Plus app everywhere you stream.